Okay, so hello and welcome to Hairdresser Strong Show, and my name is Robert. And will you please introduce yourself and let us know where you're at in your career?
Sure. My name is Heydy Gonzales. I am a graduate from Paul Mitchell School, and um, you said right now, what am I doing now?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, right now, I'm working for a pharmacy company as a telemarketer and contact center specialist, and kind of trying to see and feel out what my next steps are in my career as a hairdresser. But this is what's paying
Okay.
the bills for right now.
Yeah, I totally get that, especially right now,
Mm,
especially. Um,
especially.
okay, well, the purpose of this show is to discuss important topics a new or transforming stylist must understand to be successful. And then I like to end it with a laugh. So, Haiti, you're how long ago did you graduate hair school?
I graduated hair school in August of 2020.
Have you interviewed at any salons?
I have interviewed in a couple so far.
Okay.
For me, something that really stands out to me is education. I think that it's so important for salons to invest in their stylists, really hear out what the stylist's goals are in their skill set. For me, I feel like I'm a pretty well-rounded stylist, but I do have many questions about perming and chemical processes, blonding systems, what type of hair color they're using. Do they provide education for that type of product? How do they help their stylists grow in the salon? And if they grow, is that rewarded in some way? Is there some place that you can end up if you really try really hard to educate yourself and sign up for all these classes? I really believe in advancement, and if a salon is going to invest in me, then I will feel compelled to invest in the salon and grow within the salon as a stylist and stay there and not just learn what I want to learn and leave. You know what I
I
mean?
love this. I totally love that. Did you during your the interviews that you did have, did you relay that information as explicitly as you did just now?
I did. I remember one very nice lady that owned her salon. She told me that she did offer classes, but because of the pandemic, that was put on hold. And
Yeah.
I'm actually hearing that a lot. A lot of salons are not really doing classes or doing many things like that right now because there's just not really a way to do it. Well, during that time, I guess. Now things are a little
Yeah.
easier, but it's not the same as it was before. So I think they're still trying to
Yeah.
figure that out.
What about like, let's just stay on the topic of like what you're looking for, and we'll go back to the interviewing process. Since you mentioned, it sounded like the most important thing to you was education. And then the secondary important thing, or maybe they're mutually exclusive, you tell me, is the opportunity to grow.
Hmm.
Um, would you say that those things were mutually exclusive, or would you take a job at a place that didn't have any real, like when you talked about growth opportunity post education? Uh, what kind of responses did you get? Like,
Well,
say if you were talking to a salon owner, what would they say that your opportunity was?
when I asked about education and growth, they kind of just said, "Oh yeah, we offer classes and I hear a lot about the levels. So there's like the junior stylist, the mid stylist, and then the master stylist. So you can like progress into these levels the more you know, and depending how many clients ask for you, and your performance determines everything during your growth, and which makes
Okay.
sense. So they
Yeah.
have these growths, and of course they have like that little time span of like 3 to 6 months, depending on you, of training and
Hmm.
shadowing and all this stuff. So they would kind of just follow that outline, and I'm seeing that
Yeah.
almost in everywhere basically.
It's like pretty common,
Hmm.
right?
For sure.
Yeah. What about And were you satisfied with that response, or would you like a different response? And if you would like a different response, please, like, let's have that. I want to hear about it. Like, if there could be a, yeah. First, did you like hearing that,
Well,
or did you dislike hearing that, and why?
I I wanted to hear something different.
Okay.
And to be honest, I don't really know what it is because since I've never worked in a salon before,
Uh huh.
not like a company or a corporate salon. I've worked in community salons and I've done hair at my house. I get the idea of a salon environment, but I want something different than that. I want something that will make me as a stylist stand out if I were to walk into a regular community salon. I want that brand to influence my style of doing hair. I want to really like when people hear that I went to Paul Mitchell, they're expecting me to do hair the Paul Mitchell way because of the name, because of the training, and because of how things are the Paul Mitchell way, right? So I want that same effect, that name, that company to offer me this branded education, this branded training that will make me stand out and make
Okay.
me look valuable to customers, to clients, to representative for product, to make me look like, oh, okay, she's working for this salon brand name. This is very impressive. I wonder what she knows. I wonder what she doesn't know.
Totally.
Stuff like that.
Okay, I got a question. You're kind of touching on some stuff that I'm really interested in. uh, okay, so you we were talking about education, and then we talked about opportunities for growth, and you told me that people are giving you the response that you train, and as you grow you can grow up through the levels. And then I asked you if you'd want to hear something different than that, and you went back to education. So I'm wondering, is like, um, let's say hypothetically you find a place that they have a branded education, or a brand that's synonymous with quality, so where you could walk into any salon and get a job, and stylists will look for you because of that brand is attached to your name. Okay, let's say hypothetically you find that, because that's a whole separate conversation.
Right.
But let's say you have that. When it comes to growth, what do you imagine? Do you think that if you had that, then this level system and climbing through the level system based on your performance is a growth or a response? Like, going back to my original question, like, hearing that response in terms of opportunity, do you think that that's an acceptable, like, way to grow, or would you like would you think that there might be other options or another way? Or do you
Um
understand what I'm asking?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it goes in two ways. I feel like there's either a generalized offer that's saying, "Oh yeah, my salon offers haircut classes and coloring classes and chemical classes," right?
Okay.
But then there would be another type of way to approach it to say, we will sit down with you and ask you, what do you feel you're good at? What do you feel you need work on? What are your goals? What do you want to become in this industry? How can we help you with that? And then once I reveal that to that person that is interested in me, like for an example, I would love to get into hair extensions or a Brazilian blowout, like a really good Brazilian blowout.
Mhm.
Get more familiar with textured hair. Um, just like really narrow down on what I personally as a stylist want to work on, and then that person can say, okay, so let's come up with a plan, let's come up with a idea, an outline of what your growth can look like within 6 months. If you stay
Okay.
on track and if you stay committed to dedicating this time for us to provide these classes or this education for you, we can probably see you grow from here to here during this time. Are you
Okay.
do you think that would work for you? And I feel like that would make me feel in a way secure, saying, okay, I want this job, or I want this position, and I'm going to make the sacrifices, and I'm going to provide the time to be here because they're giving me an opportunity to become a better version of myself professionally.
I love this answer, and I feel like I would love to hear every single applicant to our salon to say something like that. And I'm sure all the salon owners I know would agree that this is the attitude that you're portraying is the attitude that all salon owners want. Now,
Mhm.
however, is a salon owner going to be able to attract you will depend on how they approach you and what type of how their education, like whether or not their education is appealing to you. That's what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about the conversation about money?
So that's where things get a little confusing for me,
Okay.
because
Talk to me.
because what I'm used to is a lot of people providing, or the community salons. Like I said, I've worked in a community salon, Latin salons, and most of the time stylists make 50% of commission, and then that's it. If you don't work, you don't make money. So it's just that's what I have seen, and a lot of my friends work that way. About
Mhm.
a couple of my friends rent a chair, and then they keep 100% of what they earn, but they have to pay something weekly for that chair.
Right.
So I've noticed that when with like companies and chain salons, their way of paying is very different. They have like this system, and depending on how long you've been there, how much money you make within the first couple of weeks, it's very it gets a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
And for me, when you complicate money, I get scared because it's more
Okay.
for me to think about. It, if I can think about, okay, if I can think in the air, saying, if I have 20 clients today, 5 of those are going to be $30 haircuts, and then 10 of those can be root touch ups, and then a couple more can be highlights and maybe a couple blowouts. I will make my goal for today, right? And if I have that mindset every day, I come into work and I say, okay, I need to have this many clients, this many services. I'll be more like, I need to get this done. What time is it? Okay, I have like 30 minutes left of my appointment for my next one. Like, I want it to be simple, because as I'm working, I'm doing the math. I'm keeping myself on time. But when you complicate things and you add this chart to me, and you're there's this percentage, but then there's this other little decimal point over there, I get stressed.
Yeah.
I get intimidated because I don't know really what I'm getting paid. I feel like if you can make a visual for me of what I'm doing, and what I can do to make more money and push myself to get more clients in the salon, I will do it.
Okay.
If it's very clearly laid out to me, and I see opportunity to, I'm like, okay, I had this client 2 weeks ago that mentioned to me about highlights. I'm gonna give her a call, personally give her a call. I will do that. If it's more complicated, then I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to visualize it. I'm a very visual person. If someone could offer me a system where they can lay it out for me and then give me that opportunity to push for more, I will push
Yeah.
for more.
How do you feel about, have you ever heard of like the sliding scale concept? And this might be what you're talking about when you said it's complex.
Mhm.
Like it, like if you, okay, so you make, say you make 40%, but if you hit this number, you make 45%.
Mhm.
Is that the complicated part that you're telling me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you're like Attractive Salon is a salon that has some sort of brand, and that is interesting because that sounds like it's going to be completely subjective to your taste of the brand. Because like different brands could have different aesthetics, they have different language, they have different attitude and tone.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's important. Now, how do you decipher whether or not you like the brand of the company?
Well, for me, what's really important to me is my aesthetic. I have the goal to
Okay.
one day own my own brand, own my own company, own my own everything. And
Okay.
it's really important to me to really support what my aesthetic is, because that's what my clients and also my friends look at when it comes to me. They When they see me or when they get to know my brand, they think, you know, glitter, pink, girly, glamorous things, right? And I
Yeah.
have hold on to that aesthetic for a very long time, and it's been working for me. When they want to feel glamorous, they look for me. So I am trying to look for a salon that will support that aesthetic. That when they come into the salon, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely the salon that I envision Haiti being in." Um,
Okay.
and also, I look for a salon that supports individuality. People being their own stylist, like their own personality and their own artist. I
Yeah.
think that's really important, to be able to have that freedom of expression with their art and with themselves. um, and I feel like if a client comes into a salon with that type of environment, they're going to be comfortable coming into that type of a salon. I can bring anybody in my chair and they'll feel like
Yeah.
they belong there, which is important to
Totally.
me.
Yeah.
And then the value is their mission. What is the salon's goal? What do they want to do with their company and with their brand? Do they have their own product? Where did they start off from? Maybe
Okay.
they'll be able to inspire me or offer me experience in their growth, so it could just jumpstart mine. So I
So
guess it's
I'm
like,
just sorry to interrupt. Just so you know, when I look down, I'm just taking notes. Okay. So keep
okay.
going. This is good. I don't want you to think I'm like distracted. I'm totally listening.
Okay.
Okay.
But I definitely feel like it's more of like, I'm gonna scratch your back and you're gonna scratch my back. If I am able to help your salon grow, I want you to help me understand what growth looks like within a salon. What are the things that you have to think about when you want to grow, when you want your stylist to change brand, or when you want to change your aesthetic? What does that process look like? What does changing prices look like? Introducing a new brand to a salon. I want to see those transactions. I want to see how salons go through those different phases, because that's something I can learn, I can use in my life when
I
I
got you.
decide
Okay.
certain things.
I'm getting you now. Okay.
Hmm.
Do you want to or expect to do some amount of training before going on the floor at a salon? Why or why not? How long do you think it will take to train to get on the floor and why? So basically, like, how long will it take me to get there? What are your thoughts about that?
I feel like when it comes to training, it really depends on the person when it comes to the hair industry, because everybody learns at different rates, and it depends what you're doing, right? For me personally, um, for what training would look like for me is to shadow one of the best stylists in your salon. I want to learn from the best, and I also want to learn from who your favorite is, who does this better. I want to know what you're looking for when you hire me, and then I want you to make me shadow what you're looking for and what you like about your already established clients. I mean, stylists. And
Okay, well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, okay. And I think that would probably take just until I feel comfortable saying, you know what, I want to try this. I want to try this on my own. When I feel ready, when I feel confident, and then we can like touch base, and I'll tell you why I feel confident, what I've learned, and then I'll show you with a model maybe, and then I'll get on the floor.
At the end of the day, the number one reason why people leave you, other than death and relocation, is because they're not happy with their
Yeah.
servant. And the
Yes.
majority of that is it happens due to a breakdown in
Yes.
communication with the
Yes.
stylist, and that
Yes.
happens in the consultation. So,
Yes.
like, the number one game changer of every stylist who could pick up from this is crush the consultation. And
Yes.
then if they're still leaving you, it might be something outside of your control, you
Right.
know, and it might be the salon, it might be the front desk, it might be like Anyway, like it doesn't brand, like it has to be a brand fit, a cultural fit with not only you but your customers as well, which kind of goes back to your point about wanting to like be a place where you feel like you fit. So I, this
Yeah.
is great. Maybe you just have like advice for a hiring manager or a salon on tips or tricks they could do do a better job. Like,
Well, I feel like the interviews that I have had so far for salons have been very generalized. They tell me they tell me a lot about their salon and what type of clients they have, and then the type of training that they do and how it goes and how long it usually lasts. And then um I've noticed that a lot of hiring managers and salon owners avoid talking about compensation. It's
oh,
not really a topic that they really bring up during the interview. Until they hire you, that's when they bring it up, and that doesn't make me feel very comfortable.
not cool.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. If I feel like
Yeah,
as a hairstylist, you need to know, you have to have an idea of what you're getting yourself into, especially when it comes to financial. Because for me, for an example, right now, I'm making a constant salary because I'm working a 9 to 5 job. So when I go to a salon, how is my income going to fluctuate? What am I getting myself into financially? What type of sacrifices am I going to make to work for you? I need to know these things before I make a decision to say, yeah, sign me up. You know?
totally.
And I feel like it's unrealistic to not talk about that and talk about it very clearly if during the interview. So that's definitely something I think that a lot of people should not shy away from. Talk about your pay rate. Talk about what you're willing to offer me. If you came up to me and you offered me an interview because of what you saw on my Instagram, or you saw my work somewhere, or a customer talked about me in your salon, then what are you willing to offer me? You know, let me feel like I can envision myself working for you and willing to make those sacrifices, or willing to make those financial decisions to be there with you. You know what I mean? Because it's a
Absolutely.
scary thing.
Totally. You think that you're just a naturally business savvy, or like you have like clear cut goals, or do you think that this is like an industry, what's it called, a generational thing,
I think
or both?
for me personally, I feel like I've always been a dreamer. I've been told that I'm very ambitious and optimistic, and I'm trying to invest those qualities in myself in the right places. And something that hairdressing has given me are very big dreams. I've met
Okay.
very interesting people. I've met those people that is living the glamorous life of being a makeup artist and a hairstylist. And I've actually met Michelle Obama's makeup artist, and it was very humbling to meet him and to see how shy he was and how not well spoken he considers himself, although he did a really good job. But he was very shy, and he said that he started out being a shy person and not being well spoken and not being um, too open to being exposed. But he put himself in a position, and he put himself in environments to set himself up for success. And I learned
Nice.
that from him. I grasped that from him. Like, okay, so I need to put myself in a place where I'm going to set myself up to be in that level of success. And look at him. He he did the first lady's makeup, and that
Yeah.
was definitely not something he had gold, but he set himself
Yeah.
up for that type of success.
Right. Right.
And I
Imagine
think,
that Instagram post.
yeah, he blew up.
Yeah, you'd be like, okay, I quit.
I'm done.
I'm
I
done. Made
mean,
it.
hello. I mean, it's just so like mind-blowing to me how such a simple decision can set up your future. You just have to make the right
Right.
decisions. You have to think everything through. You can't just think about the money. You have to think about what they're willing to give you other than the money, and how much do you think
So
you're worth, you know?
So I think it's important for everybody watching this, especially if you're a rising stylist. You don't have to be savvy and you don't have to have it all figured out. But what you need to have if you want to be successful, there's a Chinese proverb, old ancient like Chinese proverb that says, "A fool learns from his own mistakes, and a wise man learns from others." And like that, while that's not completely true in the world, but I would say it's a lot of truth in that. And so if you can like listen to people like yourself talk about, the path, it sounds very much like just pay attention to the fact that drive and desire to be the best or be good, is more than a drive to make money. And
Mhm.
it means that you're going to invest yourself. So like make sure that you end up in a place where they do all these things. Like even if you don't know anything about business, you can just like rewatch this video over and over again and take notes and be like, okay, I need to ask this question. I need to ask that question. I need to ask
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to message me or
Yes.
Heydy, and I'll put your little your handle up as well. Um, okay, well, I mean, this was great. I mean, I don't know if you have any questions for me, but I'm ready to wrap it up if unless you have something that you'd like to add or ask.
Um, add or ask. I think I would like to add that what you just said, that you don't really have to be business savvy. I definitely wasn't until I basically awoken when I started going to Paul Mitchell and learning all those tools about being a visionary. That's like a big thing with Paul Mitchell is you have to be a visionary to be successful in school there. And if you're not a visionary, you're not going to have what it takes to succeed there, to represent the brand there, right? So take that as a way to represent yourself. How do you see yourself in this industry? In any shape or form, anything is possible. And if you could come up with something crazy, even better. Because if you can stand out and you can make yourself your own, then more people are going to come to you because they want a piece of that. So that's what I really like about this industry, is just the freedom of art and the freedom of expression. It's so nice. There's no industry like it, and it can be glamorous if you push for it, and it's you own that. No one can take
Nice.
that away from you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this. Let's wrap it up with a laugh. I'm ending each episode with um with asking hairdressers to share a story in which they was mortifying or horrifying. It can be with a client, it can be in class. My story I always tell people is I sliced the top of someone's ear off and it was dangling. It's like this much was dangling. And you had to go get stitches. It was, oh man, my boss at the time for like 10 years that I worked there would always come up every time that guy was in my chair and said, "Watch the ear."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's the story that stands out the most to me. And I feel like we all have one. So do you have one to share?
I I have had a couple. I think the one that stands out to me most is when I first started being on the floor at Paul Mitchell. There was this client that came in and she was very angry. She was not happy with her service. She was complaining all over the place. It was my first day on the floor and I was shadowing, and we ended up running into each other in the washroom. And she was venting out to me and a friend that we were together. Because of this complaining, I felt compelled to tell my learning leader, "Hey, this client is complaining. She's not happy. I think you should go in there and help the stylist." So she went in there and she tried to settle her down. There was no one else available to do her hair, and she did not want the stylist doing her hair to do her hair.
Mm.
So, because I was the face of reasoning, I guess, my teacher thought it was a great idea to make me do her hair.
All right.
And it was just a blow dry and curls, but mind you, I have not touched human hair at all. I've been touching mannequin hair. So I'm she was like, "Is she a honor student?" And my learning leader went, "Yes, I actually nominated her myself. She is an honor student. She will do a lovely job on you." And I said, "Wait, why are you lying?" I
Trial by
was
fire.
sweating. I was sweating so bad because this client was so angry, and all of my classmates were literally in a corner, like that was I was literally holding the strainer, like I was straightening Death's hair and like trying to put a curl in it. I was so nervous, and I knew the lady could feel it. She did like her hair. She left happy,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I was mortified because I was not expecting that.
Oh man, that's great. It's like I'm sure it was like, oh, you can if you wanna like take care of her, you can like
Yeah, like you do
that
it.
happens in the salon a lot. It's like you go into the basement and someone's like, this person does not like this person. And it's like, oh, so maybe you should do it.
Oh,
It's like,
yo,
I don't know. Do I want the complainer? I don't know.
I don't know why. I feel like the complicated clients, like the clients that need a little bit extra attention, they gravitate towards me.
That's good. That's a
So
positive.
I
Cool.
mean, it works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you got to approach everybody with the same level of like respect and appreciation. Well, thank you so much for joining. Again, everybody, this is Heydy, and it's Heydy Gonzales, and she is a rising stylist. So you can message her if you want to get in touch with her. Otherwise, we'll check y'all later. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.